On July 1st, the weather, after an early mist, was of the kind commonly called heavenly. The poet and author Siegfried Sassoon recalled of that Saturday morning in northeastern France. At 7:30 a.m, some 120,000 troops of the British Expeditionary Force rose out of their trenches and headed across no man's land towards the German lines. That attack, over a century ago, was the long-awaited Big Push, the beginning of the Somme offensive and the quest to crack open the western front of World War I. The Allied command hoped that the week-long bombardment had shredded the barbed wire in front of the troops, but it hadn't. And before sunset, 19,240 British men had been killed and 38,231 more wounded or captured, an attrition rate of almost 50%. The ground they took was measured in yards rather than miles, and they had to cede much of it back almost immediately in the face of determined German counterattacks. It was, by far, the worst day in the long history of the British Army. For many decades, blame for the debacle has been laid at the feet of the British High Command. In particular, the British overall commander on the Western Front, General Sir Douglas Haig, has been made out as a callous bumbler, undeniably a butcher, as his severest critics claim, but most of all a pompous fool, in the judgment of the American author Geoffrey Norman. By extension, his fellow generals are supposed, by their dullness and intransigence, to have betrayed the bravery of the soldiers in the trenches. The image of lions led by donkeys has been fixed in the British imagination for the last half-century. But that phrase, attributed to the German officer Max Hoffmann, was inserted into his mouth by the British historian Alan Clark, who then appropriated it for the title of his influential 1961 study of World War I, The Donkeys. Clark later told a friend he'd invented the conversation he was supposedly quoting from, and that blanket judgment is equally bogus. Recent scholarship and battlefield archaeology, previously unpublished documents and survivors' accounts from both sides, support a new view of Haig and his commanders, that they were smarter and more adaptable than other Allied generals, and swiftly applied the harrowing lessons of the Somme, providing an example that has been pointedly ignored.